Hello everybody, hello friends, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel. Man United have lost in their initial Champions League game against Bayern Munich 4-3. Bit of chaos at the end there, loads and loads of goals and loads of stuff to talk about. I want to talk about this. I absolutely want to talk about this for Man United fans because you've got to be absolutely tearing your hair out at this stage. But I think what's also important is quite possibly this and the setup. The plan from Erik Ten Hag, was that a problem? What was brilliant about your opponents here? I want to talk about the personnel in that Man United side as well. I want to talk about the starting point and the plan for Man United, which I don't think was that wrong. I think it was about individuals, if I'm honest. Obviously, anybody, but others as well. And an inability to bring the group together. We'll get onto all of that. And I also want to talk about this because I have so many questions and I think you can sit on either side. So get involved in the comments. I want to hear how you feel about this one because I think what people will do is they'll throw the book at Man United here. But I just don't think it's that simple. I think there's a lot of moving parts here. And so let's start off with this momentum bar because I thought the starting point for Man United, and context is absolutely everything, right? And when it comes to context, Man United are not expected to win this game. Man United are expected to get pumped in this game. So can you put up a good performance? It was nearly a good performance, but I think they were hugely let down by the big moments. This is the momentum bar from the game. If I click on it here, anyone watching the game properly, I think they would have been happy with how Man United started this game of football. Because in that first 20-25 minutes, I don't know if we can get the exact time on it, we can't. Man United were all right. They were good. And I thought the plan was really good as well. Let me go through this plan with you. Because obviously we've seen the diamond. But I think it was a 4-1-4-1. Certainly kind of out of possession. What we did see a lot of the time was we saw a Man United side that when they had the ball, Reguilon and Delo looked to help out, become inverted as well. Reguilon bombed on as well. And I thought he was actually quite a good threat. He was a bit of a live wire for the team. I think overall, when we come back to the context and the personnel of this game, I think you've got to be fair and go, is that the back four? No. And I will show you this incredibly soon. I'll show you this. And this is crucial, right? This is crucial. But let's come back to the starting lineup and the triggers. So let's have a look at the two teams. As I say, Pellistri got that start. Obviously, there's not many options when it comes to that area of the pitch. Højlund obviously gets his first game and his first goal. A little bit lucky. And luck was a big part of this game as well in several instances. I thought at times Man United got a bit of luck. I thought at times they didn't get the rub of the green. We'll talk about the penalty as well. Yeah, I really want to talk about it. The penalty is trash. I don't care if it's the rule. It's trash. It's trash. Like, the ball goes over your head. You're going to jump. Your arm is going to be out a little bit. I get it. By the letter of the law. I hear what you're saying. But it's trash. It's just a trash decision. And when we look at that momentum bar once again, you see that these are big moments, man. Like, they've just got back in the game. You know, you're going into the second half of the game and you need a response. I was thinking this is going to be 4 or 5. Obviously, it was 4 goals in the end. And I think there was a certain element of My picture just fell. Is everyone okay? Is everyone all right? It's there. The picture just went mad. But I'm a pro, so we're going to keep moving, okay? That penalty killed them. But throughout the game, Erik Ten Hag's plan was solid, but was let down by individuals. By Onana for that first goal. The second goal that we'll talk about in a second. Individuals let down Ten Hag because I thought the overall plan was pretty solid. We've spoken about Man United. Man United set up with a 4-1-4-1. Although Rashford kind of cheated a little bit, played on this side a lot of the time. Casemiro sort of single pivot when it came to this game. Eriksen, actually these were the other way around really. Eriksen was actually pressing a lot higher than we expected them to. And I've spoken about the back four. If we talk about Bayern Munich, what Bayern Munich did, it was almost a bit old school in terms of what we're seeing all the time. You saw, Davies wanted to bomb on. Lema wanted to bomb on. But I think the plan from Erik Ten Hag was to use Davies as a trigger. So we've got Davies here. I'm certain it was, to be honest. Now, Alphonso Davies is such a threat, and I'll show you the average positions in a second. But he's such a threat that the game plan was, we'll let Lema have the ball, and we'll deal with that. We'll deal with Sane, we'll deal with Kane on that left-hand side. But what we don't want is allowing Alphonso Davies to run right down that left-hand side with the likes of Gnabry. And so whenever Davies got the ball, they pressed him. Again, not because he's not technically proficient, but because they wanted to make sure that they were able to stop the ball going down that left-hand side. Now, ironically, obviously, the goal comes from that left-hand side in the end. And again, goals change games. And Onana's had an absolute stinker. I mean, there's only so much analysis you can do on that. Can Eriksen get a little bit tighter? Can he generally get a little bit tighter? Yes, he definitely can. But Onana's got to save it. It's simple as that. It's as simple as that, right? But the overall plan was good. And I do want that to be heard because I think people can go after Ten Hag here. And I just don't think that's fair at all. So the idea was then... Sorry, let me take off that. The idea then was to press. And Pellistri, who's actually a bit of a sort of a workhorse for the team here, they were looking to... get at them. Eriksen, you saw playing high on Goretzka. Casemiro sweeping in behind. And actually, the Bayern Munich team, Gnabry and Sane in particular, played as wide as they could. And so the ball would make its way back round to Lema. And Rashford actually got beat quite often because he was kind of cheating and trying to cut out this pass. But I think the overall feeling was that Lema, forgive me for saying his name wrong, is the biggest threat, is the least biggest threat, if that makes sense. And overall, in that first 25 minutes, that was a really good plan. They had some solid moments. I thought Pellistri could deal with the pace overall of Alphonso Davies. But in the end, the gaps started to sort of creep in, and it was the movement of Bayern Munich that destroyed them. Absolutely destroyed them. Obviously, the first goal comes from the spaces that are created by the width. Sane was so wide throughout the game. I thought he was really, really good. And we can see that from the average positions, which I'll show you in a sec. Gnabry did a similar thing. But if we go to the movement of them, the second goal I thought was really interesting because what they did really, really well, and I've got it the other way around this time. So shooting this way now, shooting to the left. The movement was brilliant. And the personnel of Man United couldn't cope with it because there was this desire to sort of cram them in down this side and make them move over to the right-hand side. But this was the first time they were able to wiggle their way through. Great play, but in particular movement. And Musiala making this run here. Gnabry moving a little bit more centrally here. Kane dropping a little bit deeper. And as I say, Sane not getting sucked in, but staying out wide. And what that means is that it leads to the opposition having a difficulty in terms of what position they want to be in because they get dragged out to them as well. I thought it was really, really strong. Kimmich, I thought, had a fantastic game throughout. And so that movement and that brilliance there lends to Musiala getting down to the line. And then this is where luck sort of creeps in again because I feel like Delo, in particular, is a little bit unlucky there. A little bit unlucky when it comes to the goal. Now, let's go to the screenshot that shows us this. Now, what I can live with, although it's not ideal, but it's Musiala, right? And I bet Musiala was superb. When it comes to Musiala and his abilities, I bet you his dribbling stats were superb in this game. Let's have a quick look. Dribble attempts. Musiala. Right, okay, there you go. So, of the 5 attempts to dribble Musiala took part in, he completed every single one. That's how elite this guy is. And actually, again, context. This is a really elite Bayern Munich team. He said Man United there. Hey, I'm a QPR fan, okay? What can I say? But Musiala is a great player there. So, his ability to sort of wriggle past Delo in that moment is one thing. But the ability, or sort of the inability, for 2 things to occur. First of all, communication. Christ. Reguilon, and I thought Rio Ferdinand was spot on with this. Now, he has to open his mouth. They speak the same language, don't they? Both speak Spanish. There's no... I get it, it's a loud stadium. There has to be some kind of barking there. There has to be some kind of communication there. Because if he's aware of his positioning, he should be able to see that Sane is here. He's not a threat. He's started out wide. But I guess maybe he gets pulled in. But by the time he gets over there, he's got to be a little bit braver. Because the only problem is if Delot gets undone, Musiala's able to get back. And we are seeing this time and again. We've seen this in several games. We did the fallout the other day. Brighton definitely happened from that in terms of people not tracking their runners. We definitely saw it in the Arsenal game. We did a video on that as well. Odegaard, and it was great movement from Odegaard. But the midfield are just not tracking their runners enough. Now, you're playing a 4-1-4-1. Maybe they're pressing that little bit high. And maybe if we're being really, really generous, you could suggest that, the width and the pace that you have, Gnabry, Sane, Musiala, fine. But by the time he gets to the byline, Musiala, players are back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Your whole back line is there. And if your whole back line is able to get there, where on earth is the midfield? This can't keep happening. I sung Casemiro's praises. First question for you. Have his legs gone? I know he scored 2 goals, but again, if we're talking about luck, to be fair, Casemiro is one of those players who's got that knack. Great header. He's in a great spot for that. For the third goal. Second goal, look, he's there. He's alive. And he will always get you goals because he's got that in him. But that's not your job, as Roy would say. And although he was playing that role where he is... Let me get to average positions here. He was playing in that role. He needs to be better. His job was to sit and to protect. And if you're going to sit and protect, you've got to move quicker. You've got to be able to see the danger. And in terms of that movement that we've just spoken about, once you see Musiala there, look around. It's Gnabry. And just bottom line, that you saw it a few times. Sane had a moment where he got to this area. Musiala got to a place where he got to this area. You're going to see that. So what's going to happen? It's either going to go across the 6-yard line. Or it's going to get pulled back. He knows that. He doesn't need me in a hoodie saying that, does he? Casemiro knows that. So I'm not sure if it's the legs have totally gone. Of course they're not totally gone, but there's a lack of zip there. I would also say, again, Reguilon has to do a little bit more for the team here. I think he's got to speak to Martinez and he's got to pass him on. And that comes with having a team that is, ready to go and communicates. Sorry, I wasn't able to communicate the word communicate. It has to be miles better. Has to be miles better. Because that's your last chance, is Martinez being able to get out there. But he's marking a centre forward, so I don't think Martinez is overly doing something wrong. What is Casemiro doing? I don't understand what he's doing. And where is everyone else? Where is everyone else? I feel like I've made this point. Okay? So, look, you've conceded that first goal. You just need to stay in the game for a little bit and be diligent. But when we come to personnel, from a defensive point of view with what's happening, I want to say, do you take Eriksen out and put McTominay in right now? But I've just done a bit of analysis with a video earlier in the week talking about Man United and the Diamond. And McTominay's not tracking his runners. So that defensive mindset and that energy and the desire to get into these right spaces against the best teams, it needs to be a bit better. That said, context, once again, this is an amazing Bayern Munich team. And I think all over the pitch, they kind of had their marker on them. I thought Rashford really struggled on this left-hand side. And if we keep switching between the two heat maps, I think it tells a massive story. Upamecano, I thought, had a brilliant game, had him completely in his pocket throughout it. I think overall, if we take it away, this is where you can see that desire and that trigger in terms of Alphonso Davies. And Alphonso Davies kind of was pinned back a lot of the time. So again, I think when it comes to Ten Hag, I think the plan with the players that you have was pretty solid, to be honest. Bruno Fernandes doing his best, but struggling overall, if we're honest. I think when it comes to this, we need to focus on the brilliance of this Bayern Munich team. And Kane is really enjoying himself. Enjoying himself, dropping deep, focusing on that left-hand side. He allowed the other side. And again, that points to that trigger and that desire from Man United to focus him, and the space was over on that left-hand side for him, but he did hurt the team. I thought Sane was really strong throughout the game, popped over on both sides of the pitch, of course, as well. I think missed a big chance in this game, but overall was pretty solid. Obviously, Gnabry got himself a goal, but overall wasn't involved too much. So the stifling overall from the plan was pretty solid for me. I thought Kimmich as well absolutely ran it for me. Really, really great game from him. I've spoken about the handball. I thought that was utter trash, as I've spoken about before. So let's finish off with this. Let's finish off over here, shall we? Because this is everything. This is everything. Hang on, let me scroll up a little bit. Within the next few days, Amrabat, Mount and Varane return. That is enormous. I think the big concern when it comes to Varane is, can he stay fit? He's not really proven that in his Man United career. Obviously, if we scroll a little bit further down, you've got other problems when it comes to, obviously, Jadon Sancho's just, busy playing FIFA with John at the moment. But if you bring in Amrabat, if you bring in Mount, and Amrabat is massively needed, because I think, again, when it comes to being able to track your runners and things like that, control of the game. Like, how can you get control of the game with the ball? That's what someone like Amrabat is going to hopefully provide. And I think with three players in particular, or two players in particular, Casemiro and Martinez, both struggling a little bit at the moment. And when it comes to Martinez, here's a question I've got for you guys. How do you feel about Martinez in terms of his ability to bring the best out of his other defenders? I feel like he's a really great proactive defender. I like him, right? And Casemiro, I think there's obviously still a wonderful, unbelievable player. He was absolutely amazing last season. But at the moment, without the personnel that they need around them, they are floundering. So is that on them to find a way to be better and to make the players around them better? And is that something I should even be accusing them of? Or is it just down to the simple personnel and the fact that when you bring in the likes of Amrabat, the likes of Mason Mount, and the energy that he will bring, regardless of how you feel about him in that midfield, because Eriksen is certainly not providing that right now, and Varane in terms of, Varane being able to kind of work around Martinez. Like, can Martinez work around these other defenders that he's got right now? Because the level, there was a massive gap. Massive gap. So huge to get these three back quickly. But overall, you've always got to be a little bit nervous when you're concerned, when the answer is the players that need to come back, because ideally you want them on the pitch. I'm a little bit lost with Man United, so you guys fill in the gaps for me. How are you feeling? Is it as, I think there's moments and luck and lack of individual quality or concentration that's really hurt them today. I think they've been unlucky when it comes to when that penalty is given after you've just got yourself back into the game. But overall, it did feel like Bayern Munich were just way too good and probably had a couple of gears to go through as well. Talk to me. How are you feeling? Let me know.